So recent research into the mind by Dr. Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza, amongst others, is showing that what we all kind of knew was true, that the things that happen to you as a kid and the things you learn about in your family and the ways of doing things, the kind of strategies that people employ to get their needs met as human beings, become like an ingrained pattern of behavior. And then we grow up, and for the rest of our lives, we play out those same strategies and those same patterns that we did from 0 to 7 years old, because they've become habituated in our habit mind, our subconscious mind, the mind that's dreaming when you're asleep, when your conscious mind is asleep. And so it's easy to get you to change your mind when you're conscious, right? That's the creative mind, says Dr. Bruce Lipton. But it's really hard to change the habit mind, because the habit mind is the mind that controls your breathing and your balance and your rhythms of your heart rate and stuff like that, your nervous system. And of course, you wouldn't want someone to be able to just come up and like talk you out of balance and walking and breathing, right? So naturally, wherever we got this special gift of life, whether it was from evolution or a creative force, we are endowed with the ability to have these different ways of these different software programs sort of in our mind, and they're not easy to change. So that's on purpose. But one of the downsides of that is that it's difficult to break dysfunctional patterns of behavior. Dysfunctional means when you do things that are going to lead you somewhere other than self-actualization, which is the destiny of all living beings that are human, right? And all living beings really in general. The lion is headed in one direction to become the full-bodied lion. The eagle is headed in one direction to be able to soar, with its outstretched wings. That's what it does, right? The rose has one destination, to become the rose. And just like the acorn is genetically designed to unfold itself into the mighty oak tree, as long as something in the environment doesn't prevent that from happening. So the difficulty with us humans is that we grow up in these environments where we get taught ways of doing things that become ingrained patterns of behavior in our mind, and then we act them out as adults, and we end up not reaching our full potential. I think it was Robert Keegan, you can Google this guy just like the others. He said that 74% of people do not reach their full potential in life. So to me that means, and what he meant was what they call the inter-individual stage, where a person learns to be self-directed and team-oriented. So you can be your authentic self publicly, without shame or fear, and also work with other people as a team, and set limits with them when they attempt to dominate you or to try to bully you, or they try to kind of give you permission to be less than your best self. You say, that's not really what I'm looking for. I want to reach my full potential in life, and I want to make progress, and whatever my own expression of that is. And so where I'm going with this is, one of the patterns of behavior that I see lately happening a lot is what I call the yes man. And you've heard of this in life in general. Sometimes people say, that guy's a butt kisser or a brown noser. He's like a yes man. And what that really refers to is a person who seeks security in their social group, right? They seek security in a dominant social group or dominant person, through conformity to the norms of that individual or group. So a yes man kind of describes another one of those roles that I'm famous for talking about. It's a repetitive stuckness, a pattern of being and a pattern of doing. It's a way of thinking and doing and acting. People in philosophy would call it an ontology. That means a way of being. And so it's a way of being in your family when you're a child, in order to survive and avoid mistreatment by the dominant people in your life, your parents or caregivers, right? If you're at school, it could be your teacher or in the workplaces, it'd be like your bosses and stuff. And so hopefully those people in your life, the teachers and parents and bosses, were people that treated you well and respected you as a kid. If they weren't, then you probably could have developed any number of these roles. And in particular, this one, not everybody develops this way of surviving in their dysfunctional family. But some people do. And the way you can tell they're doing this in day-to-day life as an adult is they're often completely disregarding of their own humanity, and also of your humanity. But they're really on top of making sure that they do whatever the dominant social group or the dominant individual tells them to do. And so you can tell that they're not engaging in any critical thought about what they're being told to do. They're not doing it because it's reasonable. They're not doing it because they engaged in a mutual arrangement. I have a lot of respect for a lot of the people that I work with and stuff because I engage in a mutual arrangement with them. You're going to hire me to do this job for this wage. Awesome. Okay, I'll do it. But once people start, you find yourself working late hours at night on the weekend and you're doing all this stuff, no self-care, not taking care of yourself, you can start to notice that, why am I doing this? I seem to not really be giving myself any regard as a human organism, as someone that needs to have time for myself. And so a lack of self-care can be a clue about this. It could also be other things too, other different types of stuckness. But I want to encourage you to just reflect on that. If you know anyone in your life that's kind of acting like a yes man, or in your family or in your past, or maybe if you've acted like that, it's never too late. Every passing moment is another chance to turn it all around. You can always get better as a strategist, someone who's doing things to get your needs met, and you'll have a higher quality of life if you can use strategies that are more effective. Because you might be getting really high marks in the workplace or in school, or with your parents or your grandparents, because you never question anything. You always do what you're told, and you really sacrifice more than you're supposed to as a healthy person, right? Maybe you're being a martyr in some ways. But in the long run, you're going to end up experiencing a lot of what I call toxic energy buildup, or toxic energy syndrome. Because when you don't get your needs met, you're not increasing that naturally occurring life force energy. And you're going to find yourself not getting high naturally on life. And you're going to be more tempted to supplement with other forms of artificially created endorphins, so i.e. drugs and alcohol. Many of you know I've been working as a drug counselor for the last 4 years, but one of the things that I think for those of you that don't have drug and alcohol problems is recovery really just means doing what's best for your humanity, for you as a human being. And that means that in every environment that you're in, you have to try to act in a certain way that's good for you as a human being, right? You have to honor your commitments and agreements and stuff, and be respectful to your elders and to people in authority and to your peers and to your kids. But you want to always try to, speak up when you can in a respectful, team-oriented way, and try to create situations in which everybody can do well as a human being. And if you're already doing that, like the places I work at are really good at doing that already right now, being respectful of people. And I really appreciate them for that. If you're already doing that, then keep doing it. And, maybe you can help other people to do that too. All right, guys, I hope that you can start recognizing this when you see it, this whole yes man thing. Practice being a critical thinker and trying to do what's a win-win, right? It's what's good for others and for yourself as human beings. And if you can do that, you can break out of that yes man role, and everybody can benefit. Thanks.